We've seen incessant rainfall that has wreaked havoc across that hill state. We've seen landslides that have taken place, flash floods. Unfortunately, over 80 lives have been lost at last count. Crores worth of property has been damaged, both public and private. Infrastructure has taken a hit in that state. It will take a year at least, is what the Chief Minister has said, to rebuild the state to the situation that we were prior to what we've seen this monsoon season. CNN News 18 is reporting from on ground there, from districts, from villages that no other channel has reached. Take a look at the reports my colleague Yash sent us from there.
We are traveling through Himachal Pradesh to get you the ground reality. What is actually happening in the state after those flash floods and heavy rains which actually lashed parts of the Himachal Pradesh. In particular, there are 3-4 areas which are worst affected. The first one is Shimla, the second one is Mandi. And right now we are coming to you from Mandi, and I just want to show you how these rains have destroyed this entire area. This in particular is Sarka Ghat area, and this very road actually leads towards the bus stand of Sarka Ghat, and in fact these were the small villages or small townships which were actually connecting to the main part of this very place. Now you can see around all the roads are washed away, and there is only mud on the ground. Both the areas, both the sides of the road, one side is the cliff where there is barely any space to actually drive the car as well, and in fact there are hardly any people I can see around this very place. And on the other side are those homes which are actually hanging on the cliff. You can see these are all the vehicles who've been stuck, the vehicles which are stuck at this very point for a very long time now, because what we're given to understand at this very space, the incident happened on the 14th of August, and after that this is the condition over here. And today is 17th, it's almost 3 days, and on the other side of this very road you can see how landslide has affected this entire area. I am in the Tati area. This particular area you can see the damage, the kind of damage which has been done due to the landslide at this very point. You can see how homes have been washed away. This entire road has been washed away because of the floods, and in fact that flood caused landslide in this very area. Now I can tell you one thing, that this was one complete road, and you can see how part of this road has been completely washed away by these landslides. You can see these are some localites who have actually come to pay a visit to one of their neighbors whose home has been washed away, and in fact they are living in their home. Those people are living in their home. The condition is so bad that authorities have cordoned off this entire area, and no one is actually allowed to enter this very space. You can see how this entire road has cracked, and the water is also continuously coming from the upper sides, so that increases the risk of landslide and also increases the risk of further more damage to the properties. What we are given to understand, there is no particular number as to how many homes collapsed at this very site, but there were many people living at this very space, because this is a residential area. In fact, this particular area is Tati, which comes under Sarka Ghat, which is considered to be one of the worst affected in Mandi. The situation is real bad here in Himachal Pradesh, and in particular I would want to start by showing you the visuals from Zukain. This is the Sugain Panchayat area. In fact, this is in Mandi. You can see, so this was the very place where that very first cloud burst took place in Mandi, which was on 13th of August in the early morning around 5 or 6 a.m. when in fact that cloud burst happened, and after that this is what you see is what is left behind after that cloud burst. The locals here have to say that almost 2 to 3 homes were affected on this very range, and in fact it's a lucky, it's very lucky for them, and it's very fortunate that no more houses were affected. But you can see over here the kind of destruction which has happened over here, in particular in Zukain Panchayat. In fact, there were 3 homes in fact which were in the chain and in the line of that very cloud burst. In fact, from the very top of that hill, that very cloud burst happened, and till here it left the trail of destruction. In fact, this was the home which was the first to actually got affected by this very cloud burst. You can see how stones entered this very home, how this entire actually from one area, how one wall collapsed, and in fact the home was completely destroyed by that very flash flood which occurred due to the cloud burst. Now locals here say that this entire village has been vacated because this is under the red zone. They say that this entire area is very unsafe as of now. You can see the kind of destruction which has been done over here. बहुत ही कठिन समय है आप लोगों के लिए. मैं देख रहा हूँ पूरा घर जिस तरीके से इफेक्टेड है आपका. आप क्या उस समय घर पे थे?
हाँ जी, घर पे ही थे हम लोग. बेसिकली हमारा घर दूसरी जगह है, लेकिन जो हमारा होम घर है वो यहीं है. तो हम सब लोग, ये मेरा परिवार है पूरा. तो मैं तीन जगह की त्रासदी झेल रही हूँ. जहाँ ये घर है वो भी खतरे में है. ये गांव पूरा मेरा, दूसरी जगह जहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट हमीरपुर में बनाया वो भी सारी सिरखट जो है वो मेरे घर में घुस गई है. तीसरी जगह जो हम बेटी की शादी की है वो भी उसमें रेड जोन में खाली करवा दिए गए हैं. वो भी दूसरों के घर में शेल्टर लिए हुए हैं. तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हमारी मानसिक स्थिति जो है इस समय बहुत दर्दनीय है और दुखनीय है. अब रात को नींदें नहीं आ रही हैं, वही मंजर सामने आ रहे हैं. और इतना देख के हम, मेरी जो बहू है वो उस समय बेचारी 8th मंथ प्रेगनेंसी में, तो उसको हमने जेसीबी लगवा के तब उसको बाहर निकाला. तो इतना भयानक वो दृश्य था कि अभी भी रात को सो नहीं हम लोग पा रहे हैं. और मेंटली मतलब इतने डिस्टर्ब हो चुके हैं कि कुछ नहीं नज़र आ रहा है. और एक तो सब कुछ घर बार लुट गए, ऊपर से सारा रेड जोन में. अभी तक कोई भी प्रशासनिक अधिकारी जो है वो उस पर एक्शन नहीं ले रहे हैं कि मतलब वहाँ आए और कुछ उसका जेसीबी भेज के या कुछ सेव करें लोगों को. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
The kind of destruction which has happened in Himachal Pradesh, you can see all around me. This is what had happened on the 13th of August when a particular cloud burst took place here in Mandi, and in fact this is the Zukain Panchayat area which has been worst affected by the flash floods which occurred and washed away many homes. This is the trail of destruction which has left behind now, and this in particular happened on the morning of 13th of August when a cloud burst took place on the upper hill area, and after that the water gushed in with so much speed that it washed away whatever it had in its way. Still there is a lot of damage which is still here, and this entire panchayat has been vacated, and in fact now this is the red zone area. No one from outside is actually allowed to enter this space. There were 2 homes which were seriously affected by this very flash flood which occurred on the 13th of August. Now this was the very home which was in the passageway of this entire flash flood, and you can see how bad situation is. Today is the 3rd day, and still there are a lot of stones which are present inside. There are a lot of mud which is present inside, and these are all locals and the family members who are actually helping each other in actually carrying out this operation of emptying this space. Cloudburst which took place in Mandi on 13th of August has resulted in something like this. You can see how this entire hill has collapsed, and in fact the landslide was reported in the early hours of the 13th of August around 6 AM. In fact you can see from up to that very point that cloudburst took place, and after that cloudburst the water gushed in with so much speed that it got all these rocks with it, and in fact this is a scary scenario playing out over here, destroying many homes and in fact affecting around 150 families. This entire area has been classified as a red zone by the authorities. Yes, the authorities has given a red zone, has marked this area as red zone, but as per the locals, nobody paid visit to this very site. This is Zukain Panchayat, and in fact this is in Mandi town, and you can see how the situation has turned back. The water is continuously coming down from up the hill, and in fact it's going down there to that very spot. I'll show you the visuals from that place as well. You can see how situation is bad over here in Mandi. This was the home which was actually damaged by these very flash floods which occurred due to that very cloud burst.
मैं कांगड़ा वैली के हमारे जो ये इंदौर और फतेहपुर है वहाँ भयानक स्थिति है, बाढ़ आ गई है। ऐसी बाढ़ पहले कभी नहीं आई, और बाढ़ आने का कारण कोई बारिश नहीं है। बाढ़ आने का कारण है कि पोंग डैम से जो पानी छोड़ा गया वो कम से कम उससे जो नदी है उसने अपना रुख बदला और काफ़ी गांव बाढ़ग्रस्त हो गए हैं। अच्छी बात यह है कि कोई वहाँ मृत्यु नहीं हुई है। हमने Mi-70 से लोगों को निकालना शुरू किया है, मोटर बोट्स के साथ हमने निकालना शुरू किया है और तकरीबन 2200 के करीब हम लोगों को अभी तक निकाल चुके हैं।
देखिए, एक दो चीज़ों को लेकर के हमको उस पर ध्यान देने की आवश्यकता है। एक तैयारी वो होती है जो समय से पहले होती है, सारी असेसमेंट के आधार पर होती है कि मौसम आने वाले समय में परेशान करने वाला है। वेदर अलर्ट हमको जिस प्रकार से मिले उसकी तैयारी करने की दृष्टि से। देखिए, एक बात तो मान करके आप चलिए कि जहां जहां शिमला के शहर के अंदर जहां जिस पेड़ के कारण खतरा बना है तुरंत वहां पर एक्शन करना चाहिए, उसमें विलंब नहीं करना चाहिए। आखिरकार पर्यावरण बचाना वो भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, लेकिन आदमी की जिंदगी भी तो इम्पोर्टेंट है। मुझे लगता है कि उस पर सोचना चाहिए। उस पर हम अब देखा आपने कि शिमला के शहर के अंदर ही 20 जगह पेड़ गिरे हैं। क्या मार्क नहीं पहले कर सकते थे कि ये पेड़ जो है वो खतरा बना हुआ है?
Let's shift focus now on Nation at 5 to a super exclusive news break that we have for you, and this is pertaining to an ambassador here in India. He's a diplomat of Afghanistan who's believed to have gone missing. Now the Taliban has completely washed their hands off. They say that they never appointed this envoy to India from Afghanistan. But what exactly happened to this envoy for the last 2 months? His whereabouts are unknown. There are other officials in the Afghanistan ministry are doing their job, which is why the MEA now says that as far as our work is concerned, our structure is concerned, all of that is intact. These details now coming to the fore from a source within the Ministry of External Affairs. Let's now get you some more details of what exactly has happened and under what circumstances is this entire situation now being investigated. Let's now get you those source-based information that we are now getting in from the Ministry of External Affairs as far as this diplomat is concerned. The Afghanistan ambassador for India is believed to have gone missing for the last 2 months. He's not accounted for. There is no idea where he is, whether he is in India at all or not. He's reportedly went to Saudi Arabia and since then hasn't returned to India. Whether he is still in Saudi or went back to Afghanistan, we have no details on that as of yet. The Taliban government says that they haven't appointed Fareed in the first place. So there is another official envoy that is here in India and is working with the Indian authorities, which is why the Taliban has completely washed their hands off this particular diplomat. The sources within the MEA are now telling us that this diplomat's absence hasn't really affected work because there are other people in the Afghanistan from the Afghanistan diplomatic circles that are already working with India, and that is why that work hasn't been affected. So what exactly is the issue here and why this is important? Let's tell you that. Now, remember, I just told you that this particular diplomat went to Saudi Arabia 2 months ago and hasn't returned since. He was in a visit there where he wrote, Qadir Shah wrote to the MEA is what we're now learning. Now, this is a tussle between two diplomats within the Afghanistan embassy. Qadir Shah claimed to be appointed as the charge d'affaires by the Talibani government here in India. This was already when Fareed was in India but then went to Saudi Arabia 2 months ago. Qadir Shah's bid to take charge was stalled by other diplomats, is what we're now learning via sources. We then go on to say that Qadir Shah was reportedly barred from entering the embassy thrice. So is this really an issue just between the two diplomats or is there more to it? That is something that we will have to find out. Abhishek Jha, my colleague, joining us, getting us more details. Abhishek, what more have you gathered from your sources within the MEA?
So there is clearly not all is not well in the Afghan embassy because in the last few months we have seen many conflicting reports emerging that who is actually having the stay in Afghan embassy. Already, sour relationship between the de facto ruler of Afghanistan, that is the Taliban, and the ambassador in India has been a talk of town. But now we are learning that Farid, who has been the ambassador of Afghanistan, he was appointed by the erstwhile government from the Afghanistan. He's not been living in Delhi for quite some time, now a few weeks. He's not been seen anywhere in the public places, and in the past also he has been away to several foreign locations. But now we don't know whether he is actually handling the work, because the government has regularly said, and they have been updating us, that the work, that humanitarian work that India is still continuing with Afghanistan, for the Afghanistan people, and the mission that India is having in Afghanistan, the technical mission that currently is having a senior official and some of the members from Ministry of External Affairs, they are operating well, and in coordination with the de facto rulers of Afghanistan, India has been sending humanitarian aid. The 50,000 tons of wheat that India had promised, is the last shipment was just arrived in Afghanistan a few days ago. 200 tons of medicine, life-saving drugs and medicine have also been sent to Kabul for the people of Afghanistan. Other aspects of humanitarian and development work that India used to conduct, so many of them are still ongoing, and there is no, communication gap between the two sides. However, who is having the control of Afghanistan embassy in Delhi remains a mystery, because Qadir Shah, who was handling the trade department in Afghanistan embassy some time ago, had also claimed that he has become a de facto ambassador because or the DCM of Afghanistan embassy in Delhi because of the absence of Farid. But Farid later on claimed the post himself, and the confusion remained to be seen. Even now, it is reported that Farid Mahmoudzaade is not taking too much of interest in the official work, and he has been spending a lot of time away from India.
But what exactly is his status? Is he still an ambassador attached to the Talibani government, to the Afghanistan government? Because the Taliban seems to have washed their hands off him, and they have absolutely no idea about his whereabouts.
The deeper politics is that about 40 odd embassies or the diplomats that Afghanistan's as well government has appointed across the world, most of them have bent or kind of have developed a cordial relationship with the Taliban, the current rulers. Afghanistan's current ruler, that is Taliban. Only a handful of them have still stood their ground that they support the earlier democratically elected government and not the Taliban government. Farid, the Delhi has been very interested in, because of the Afghanistan's geopolitical, geostrategic location. So India has been trying to engage with Afghanistan, not officially, but through the humanitarian aid and assistance that India has been providing. And for all those work, they need a senior diplomat to be present in Delhi who has the confidence of Taliban also. But whether India will accept an envoy who is appointed by Taliban, that will be a bigger question, because India has not recognized the Taliban government in Afghanistan. So in that case, Farid still remains the official bona fide diplomat or the ambassador of Afghanistan in Kabul, unless until he abdicates that post or he has been removed by some dictate by the Taliban government.
Right, so no clear word coming in from Afghanistan so far. Interesting developments there taking place on the diplomatic front. For the moment, Abhishek, thank you so much for getting us those details. With that, we're slipping into a quick break here on this edition of Nation at 5. Do stay with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Burst took place in Mandi, which was on 13th of August in the early morning around 5 or 6 a.m. when in fact that cloud burst happened, and after that this is what you see is what is left behind after that cloud burst. The locals here have to say that almost 2 to 3 homes were affected on this very range, and in fact it's very lucky for them, and it's very fortunate that no more houses were affected. But you can see over here the kind of destruction which has happened over here, in particular in Zukain Panchayat. In fact, there were 3 homes in fact which were in the chain and in the line of that very cloud burst. In fact, from the very top of that hill, that very cloud burst happened, and till here it left the trail of destruction. In fact, this was the home which was the first to actually got affected by this very cloud burst. You can see how stones entered this very home, how this entire actually from one area, how one wall collapsed, and in fact the home was completely destroyed by that very flash flood which occurred due to the cloud burst. Now locals here say that this entire village has been vacated because this is under the red zone. They say that this entire area is very unsafe as of now. You can see the kind of destruction which has been done over here, how you can see how trees being uprooted. In fact, before this cloud burst happened, what we are given to understand, this was a normal road where the people used to commute, but now you can see this place has entirely changed into a ghost valley over here. In fact, these stones, they were not here. These stones actually rolled down from the top, and in fact the silver lining in this entire case is that no one was injured, gravely injured, and no casualty was reported from this very spot. Something to worry is that the water is still coming from the upper zones, which actually creates a lot of problem for these people, because with water the stones also come down to this very place, and in fact there is a current in the water, there is a heavy pressure in the water, and that is why this entire situation is very sensitive. In fact, I have the person whose home has been affected by this. Sir, मैं एक चीज़ समझना चाहूँगा आपसे, पहले तो ये बताइए कब ये घटना हुई एग्जैक्टली और क्या कुछ हुआ और आप कहाँ थे उस समय पे?
एक्चुअली ऐसा है कि 13 अगस्त की सुबह लगभग 6:30 बजे के करीब जब हम उठे और लोगों ने आवाज़ें लगाना शुरू की कि क्लाउड ब्रस्ट हो गया है, और जो मिट्टी की एक स्मेल जैसी होती है वो हम सब ने उसको महसूस किया, और तभी हम सभी लोग घर से वहाँ से भागे और जो एडजॉइनिंग हमारे पास वहाँ पर घर थे उसकी स्लैब के ऊपर खड़े होकर के देखने लगे कि क्या हुआ। जितना भी ये डैमेज हुआ है इसका मंजर हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा हुआ है, और ये सारा का सारा जो हमारा घर जो ब्रस्ट हुआ है वो जो त्रासदी है इसको हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा है, और ये बहुत ही दुखद है कि प्रशासन के लोग जो थे वो स्टेट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट वाले लोग भी यहाँ अब तक, जब तक आप रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हैं तब तक यहाँ कोई नहीं आया हुआ है। और हमारा सरकार से निवेदन रहेगा कि इस पूरी के पूरी जोन में, क्योंकि हर जगह दरारें आ गई हैं, और सरकार से मेरा निवेदन रहेगा कि इसका जियोलॉजिकल सर्वे करवाया जाए ताकि लोगों में जो दहशत है वो ख़त्म हो सके और लोग जो हैं वो यहाँ पर रह सकें। अगर ये बर्थ प्लेस जो है वो रहने लायक नहीं बचा है तो सरकार इसका सर्वे करवा करके हमें उचित मुआवजा दे लोगों को ताकि उनका वो पुनर्वास कर सके।
मैम, मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ बहुत ही कठिन समय है आप लोगों के लिए। मैं देख रहा हूँ पूरा घर जिस तरीके से इफेक्टेड है आपका। आप क्या उस समय घर पे थे?
हाँ जी, घर पे ही थे हम लोग। बेसिकली हमारा घर दूसरी जगह है, लेकिन जो हमारा होम घर है वो यहीं है। तो हम सब लोग, ये मेरा परिवार है पूरा, तो मैं तीन जगह की त्रासदी झेल रही हूँ। जहाँ ये घर है वो भी खतरे में है, ये गांव पूरा मेरा। दूसरी जगह जहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट हमीरपुर में बना है वो भी सारी सिरखट जो है वो मेरे घर में घुस गई है। तीसरी जगह जो हम बेटी की शादी की है वो भी उसमें रेड जोन में खाली करवा दिए गए हैं, वो भी दूसरों के घर में शेल्टर लिए हुए हैं। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हमारी मानसिक स्थिति जो है इस समय बहुत दर्दनीय है और दुखनीय है। अब रात को नींदें नहीं आ रही हैं, वही मंजर सामने आ रहे हैं। और इतना देख के मेरी जो बहू है वो उस समय बेचारी 8th मंथ प्रेगनेंसी में, तो उसको हमने जेसीबी लगवा के तब उसको बाहर निकाला। तो इतना भयानक वो दृश्य था कि अभी भी रात को सो नहीं हम लोग पा रहे हैं, और मेंटली मतलब इतने डिस्टर्ब हो चुके हैं कि कुछ नहीं नज़र आ रहा है। और एक तो सब कुछ घर बार लुट गए, ऊपर से सारा रेड जोन में। अभी तक कोई भी प्रशासनिक अधिकारी जो है वो उस पर एक्शन नहीं ले रहे हैं कि मतलब वहाँ आए और कुछ उसका जेसीबी भेज के या कुछ सेव करें लोगों को, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
मैम, तो जिस समय ये बादल फटा आप लोग घर में ही मौजूद थे,
हाँ
तो उस समय पे क्या हुआ? मतलब बादल फटा, आवाज़ आई, फिर पानी का बहाव आया, यहाँ पे मलबा आया, मैं समझ रहा हूँ। आप तब सब लोग घर के अंदर थे, बाहर कैसे निकले? क्योंकि इस समय घर के अंदर बहुत पत्थर है।
हाँ जी, तो जब जैसे इन्होंने बताया, ये हमारे देवर हैं जिन्होंने ये बताया, और ये जिनका घर है ये मेरे जेठ जी हैं। तो इन्होंने बताया कि जैसे मड्डी वाटर की वो स्मेल जैसी आती है वो आई पहले, और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे पानी की आवाज़ आई और पत्थर इन्होंने बड़े बड़े घरों के बराबर बराबर पत्थर जो हैं वो इन्होंने हवा में उड़ते हुए देखे नीचे आते हुए। और फिर तब ये हमारा घर अगली साइड को है तो वहाँ ये लोग गए, वहाँ थोड़ा ऊपर वाली मंजिल में चढ़े। मेरी मदर चाची सास जो है वो कोमा में है, उनको कैसे कैसे इन लोगों ने सब ने मिल के बाहर निकाला। वो बिल्कुल उसमें डेथ बेड पे पड़ी हुई हैं, तो ना लाइट ना कुछ नहीं, तो उनको सरका घाट वो बेटी के घर शिफ्ट किया। फिर जब वहाँ लाइट चली गई तो हॉस्पिटल शिफ्ट किया। तो हम कैसी कैसी त्रासदी झेल रहे हैं ये हम लोगों को पता है। और मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि जिसको पड़ती है उसी को पता होता है, बाकी किसी को कोई लेना देना नहीं होता। हम लोग इस समय बहुत ही बुरी घड़ी से गुजर रहे हैं और हमारी मांग है, आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी भी आ रहे हैं, देखते हैं क्या करते हैं वो। और वो भी मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ आके आंसू पहुँच के चले जाएंगे, होगा कुछ नहीं, झेलना तो हम लोगों को ही पड़ेगा।
And this is as far as the aftermath of what is taking place in Himachal Pradesh. Now we are understanding a key highway is also completely closed and it's shut off, so connectivity has taken a toll. Roads have been blocked and water supply has been hit as well. We've been getting you non-stop ground reports of what the ground situation looks like. It really hasn't changed in the last 24 hours. The Mandi Pathankot highway is the one we're referring to, which we are now understanding is completely shut off. So there is going to be a big price for the local residents to pay who still continue to be stuck in areas that are impacted. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yash, who in fact has been tracking these developments, is on ground zero. Yash, good morning. As we pointed out, the situation really hasn't changed for the better. Now we're understanding connectivity has taken a hit as well. Could you talk to us about the roads, the highways that are now completely shut or blocked?
Well, Ridhima, the situation is really...
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Poonam Burde. In 6 days from now, on the 23rd of August at 5:47 p.m., India is hoping to script history with the Chandrayaan 3 mission when it attempts the soft landing of its lander and rover. What exactly happened today is the two modules separated. We've seen what has happened after the launch over the last 40 days, several milestones that have been achieved in this mission. The last big milestone was today when the separation of the two modules of this particular mission separated. They are now on their separate journeys in the orbit. 6 days from now is when we are going to be attempting that soft landing. What are we expecting to happen then? Let's take a look at the two most crucial parts of what we're going to be seeing in the next 6 days. One is that of the lander, the other is the rover. Let's look at how Vikram is going to work and what its salient features are. Vikram, of course, is the lander which is now traveling closer to the moon. We're given to understand that it's a 6-day journey that it is going to embark upon. It's already in its orbit, separated from the propulsion module, which took place in this afternoon. Let's take a look at the shape of the Vikram lander. It's going to be investigating spectral and polarimetric measurements as far as the lunar surface is concerned. The measurement is going to be near the surface plasma density as far as Vikram is concerned. They study the gas and the plasma environment of the lunar surface. What it's also going to be doing is that the thermal properties and surface temperature is also going to be studied. All of that data is then going to be sent back to Earth for analysis. Measure seismicity around the landing site as well. That is what the lander is going to do before the rover, which is Pragyan, detaches and attempts that soft landing, and then is going to be on the lunar surface to send us back more details as far as analysis is concerned. A passive experiment to understand the dynamics of the moon, which is the LRA, as far as the Vikram lander is concerned. These are the features of what Vikram is going to look like. What about Pragyan, the rover, which is going to be on the lunar surface if and when that successful soft landing happens? But before we get you details of that, listen into some reactions that came to the fore as India and as Chandrayaan 3, the mission, completed its last big milestone just a short while ago.
It's a big day. That successful separation has already happened. Your first thoughts on this successful completion of this important step?
This is actually a very complex activity, and we are happy that it is happened smoothly without any hitch.
Right,
and,
sir.
This is another major milestone, I would say. This one. Okay.
Sir, my last question to you about how Chandrayaan 2, from Chandrayaan completion of this mission, how confident you are, sir?
Basically, this we have gone through the data of Chandrayaan 2 and find out that the error, what really happened. Then that errors have been corrected. That's number one. Number two, this particular mission we added more margin, design margin. Number three, wherever the redundancy is increased, this one. That way, now the confidence level for this mission is more. So we are expecting that this will happen very nicely without any problem.
Successful separation, just a step away from a successful soft landing.
Look, I think the journey that Chandrayaan as a program and Chandrayaan 3 in particular has been extremely one that makes every Indian proud. We have certainly demonstrated to the world, ISRO has, and the whole ecosystem around ISRO in design, manufacturing, that we are amongst the leading nations in the world in terms of this type of capability. And I'm very pleased today that Chandrayaan 3 has completed the separation phase successfully, and I hope that we will soon be browsing the surface of the moon.
So this adds to the soft power of the country?
No, it adds to the deep technology capabilities, it adds to the confidence of our nation, and it certainly positions India and the young Indians that to be a central player in the decade of technology opportunities that are coming in front of us. The decade, as the Honorable Prime Minister has branded it, that in that decade, space and space-linked technologies are going to be a very important part of the technology ecosystem, and that the Indian ecosystem in space and allied technologies will play a defining role there.
Now, those are the reactions that you just heard, but let's take a deeper dive into what exactly we are expecting in the next 6 days and when that soft landing is attempted on the lunar surface on the 23rd of August at 5:47 p.m. There is, of course, a larger window, but the first attempt will be made at 5:47 p.m. That is when the lunar surface mission to analyze is going to begin. Now we have Vikram, the lander which is going towards the moon. We are going to be having the rover Pragyan, which is going to detach from Vikram on that day on the 23rd of August. Let's take a look at what Pragyan is expected to do and how that's important. The Pragyan, the rover, is going to be looking for elements in the lunar soil. That data is going to be sent back to Earth, to ISRO for analysis, to look into what more is there that can be found, that can be studied, and how that is going to impact life as we know it here on Earth. The access to chemical and elemental composition as well is something that Pragyan is going to grant ISRO, and that is going to be extremely crucial as far as studying the lunar surface is concerned, which is why it's important that the soft landing is successful. Remember, Chandrayaan 2 failed during that particular landing, but we've learned from our mistakes. Now, as we attempt Chandrayaan 3 and the soft landing on the 23rd of August, we are expecting, and a billion hopes are riding on Vikram and on Pragyan, of course, for the triumph that we are hoping on the 23rd of August. We are shifting focus now from that to some breaking news that's coming in, and this is over an arrest of a most wanted criminal as far as the NIA goes, and this is, we're given to understand that a lookout circular and a red corner notice was issued against this most wanted criminal. This pertains to a gold smuggling case which came to the fore from the Jaipur International Airport. Mohammed Ali, a resident of Rajasthan who had been absconding since 2021, has now been apprehended by the NIA. My colleague Arunima joining us, getting us more details. Yes, Arunima.
So you've already pointed out to our viewers that he has been a proclaimed offender, and this case by the NIA pertains to narrowing down the options for Mohammed Ali. What happens when you issue a lookout circular or when you alert the international agencies through Interpol? Essentially what happens is that you alert everybody that here is a man who's wanted by law, and therefore if he tries to cross over from any country, if he's seen at any port, seaport, then the Interpol must alert the agency concerned, in this case NIA. We've already told you about the case or the charge against Mohammed Ali. Just reading out once again, the National Investigation Agency feels that 18.56 kgs of gold bars that were seized at the Jaipur International Airport, Mohammed Ali has a role to play in it. They feel that this was part of a grand conspiracy since the value of this was over 9 crore and it was being smuggled from Riyadh in 2020 as well as part of a grand criminal conspiracy. So that's the charge, and for that NIA NIA has now moved to take Interpol into confidence. There are others also who have been named. There is a 2 lakh reward that has been declared. An NIA investigation reveals, this is what the agency claims, that Subhash and Maqbool Sheikh are also co-accused in this matter. The heat is turning on all the 3 accused, for them to be handed over to the investigating agency NIA.
Absolutely, and the NIA is hoping that that happens sooner than later, from 2021 to 2023. Now it has been a long wait as far as this case goes, but breakthroughs coming for in that case. For the moment, thank you so much, Arunima, for getting us the latest on that. We are shifting focus now to the other political story that we're tracking here on CNN News 18, and that is the fissures that seem to be erupting within the India alliance, which is the opposition bloc that is fighting against the NDA in 2024. We've seen it start with Delhi, when we had a Delhi Congress leader come out yesterday and say that we are wanting to fight all 7 Lok Sabha seats in Delhi. That is something that is not going to be acceptable to the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, all of those reports were downplayed from both sides, saying that seat sharing is still being discussed. All of that will be discussed later this month when the 3rd meeting of this bloc happens in Mumbai. But this is just the beginning, is what many within the BJP and the NDA believe. This is going to be the downfall of this entire alliance, and it's no competition for the BJP, is what they believe come 2024. Listen in to some reactions that are now pouring in.
Yesterday, the Lok Sabha strategy meeting of Delhi took place. Now, a bit of confusion is there, controversy, you can say, where a statement by one of the spokesperson has been now taken by the Aam Aadmi Party and saying that Congress is going alone. There is not going to be an alliance with any of the party, and all 7 seats are going to be contested by Congress party alone.
See, first of all, I would like to clarify that this meeting wasn't for Lok Sabha election preparation. It was for organizational setup, how to revamp the party. This is absolutely incorrect that this meeting was for preparation of Lok Sabha election. And secondly, there wasn't any discussion about the seat sharing. I don't know from where this news has been broken. But Rahul ji was there, Kharge ji was there, and our in charge, Mr. Babaria was there, KC Venugopal ji was there. I was just besides Rahul ji. I haven't even heard from any corner that there was any discussion about the seat sharing and Lok Sabha.
Sort of my first question is about this huge debate that is taking place over this Congress and Aam Aadmi Party alliance. Yesterday we heard party spokesperson say that they will boycott attending the next meeting because of a statement made by some of the leaders. What is the stand today?
I think the Congress leadership has clarified that the statements by the state spokesperson of Congress is not an authorized statement of the party, and I think the matter ends there.
So there is no question of any boycott now?
No, I don't think that matter still remains. The matter started with the Congress spokesperson and ends with the official statement of the party.
So you're hopeful of a productive alliance or a constructive alliance between the 2 parties in Delhi and elsewhere also?
We are very hopeful that all opposition parties this time will represent the country, will represent India, and BJP's government will not come to power in 2024.
मेरी तो समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि आम आदमी पार्टी हैं, उनके जो हैं समझ के लिए मैं क्या कहूँ. अलका लांबा इज अ स्पोक्सपर्सन. शी इज़ नॉट अ ऑथोराइज्ड स्पोक्सपर्सन फॉर टॉकिंग ऑन सच मेजर इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज़. जो पत्रकार ने उनसे पूछा है उसकी मैच्योरिटी के बारे में भी मुझको शंका लगता है. और जो है जहां मैंने व्हेन आई हैव सेड एज एन इंचार्ज कि आज कोई चर्चा ही नहीं हुई है, तभी इसी प्रकार की बात करना, वो जो है आम आदमी पार्टी को भी समझ में आ जाना चाहिए कि जो मीडिया है पूरा का पूरा वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मदद करना चाहता है, आपको उकसाना चाहता है, और वो भी जो उकसाने के बाद ये प्रकार की बात करते हैं. मैं समझ रहा हूँ कि इट इज़ द मोस्ट अनफॉर्चुनेट थिंग. ये जो है आज कोई चर्चा ही नहीं हुई, उसके बारे में इमेजिनरी बात कर दें.
3 घंटे की मीटिंग में पूर्व कांग्रेस अध्यक्ष राहुल गांधी जी, खरगे जी, केसी वेणुगोपाल जी और दीपक बाबरिया जी रहे. 3 घंटे की मीटिंग शुरुआत हुई संगठन को लेकर कि संगठन कमजोरियां क्या हैं, उस पर कैसे काम किया जाए. सुझाव आए उसको कैसे हम मजबूत कर सकते हैं. दूसरा सुझाव ये आया कि लोकसभा 2024 की तैयारियां अब हमें करनी है. मकसद वही था.
दिल्ली से पहले 18 राज्यों की मीटिंगें हो चुकी हैं लोकसभा की तैयारियों को लेकर। दिल्ली 19वां राज्य था, 24 कैसे जीतना है, और बिल्कुल आदेश हुआ है कि हमें 7 सीटों पर मजबूत संगठन के साथ हर नेता को आज से अभी से निकलना है। 7 महीने 7 सीटें हैं। ये बात हुई कि जिसकी दिल्ली उसका देश होता है, ये दिल्ली का इतिहास बताता है। इसलिए कहा गया कि बिल्कुल 7 पर तैयारी रखनी है।
I have with me Aam Aadmi Party MLA and Delhi in charge Dilip Pandey. Dilip, we have got to hear a statement coming from the Congress party. It's a bit confusing because one leader has said that they are going to prepare to fight on all 7 seats, while the other one has actually said that they are going to contest all 7 seats in Delhi. What is your reaction to that?
Even that's what when we got to know through media sources that Congress party is not probably willing to make any alliance in upcoming elections, general elections in Delhi. And if that's the case, then I guess there's no point in being part of that India alliance. And obviously the party decision is yet to come, but our leadership is going to decide whether the upcoming India alliances meeting they're going to attend or not.
Are these cracks in the opposition bloc going to widen further, or are they going to build consensus when the next meeting happens in Mumbai on the 31st of August? That remains to be seen. On that note, slipping into a quick break here on this edition. Back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Brought to you by
Himachal Pradesh, and in particular I would want to start by showing you the visuals from Zukain. This is the Zukain Panchayat area. In fact, this is in Mandi. You can see, so this was the very place where that very first cloud burst took place in Mandi, which was on 13th of August in the early morning around 5 or 6 a.m. when in fact that cloud burst happened, and after that this is what you see is what is left behind after that cloud burst. The locals here have to say that almost 2 to 3 homes were affected on this very range, and in fact it's very lucky for them, and it's very fortunate that no more houses were affected. But you can see over here the kind of destruction which has happened over here, in particular in Zukain Panchayat. In fact, there were 3 homes in fact which were in the chain and in the line of that very cloud burst. In fact, from the very top of that hill, that very cloud burst happened, and till here it left the trail of destruction. In fact, this was the home which was the first to actually got affected by this very cloud burst. You can see how stones entered this very home, how this entire actually from one area, how one wall collapsed, and in fact the home was completely destroyed by that very flash flood which occurred due to the cloud burst. Now locals here say that this entire village has been vacated because this is under the red zone. They say that this entire area is very unsafe as of now. You can see the kind of destruction which has been done over here, how you can see how trees being uprooted. In fact, before this cloud burst happened, what we are given to understand, this was a normal road where the people used to commute, but now you can see this place has entirely changed into a ghost valley over here. In fact, these stones, they were not here. These stones actually rolled down from the top, and in fact the silver lining in this entire case is that no one was injured, gravely injured, and no casualty was reported from this very spot. Something to worry is that the water is still coming from the upper zones, which actually creates a lot of problem for these people, because with water the stones also come down to this very place, and in fact there is a current in the water, there is a heavy pressure in the water, and that is why this entire situation is very sensitive. In fact, I have the person whose home has been affected by this. Sir, मैं एक चीज़ समझना चाहूँगा आपसे, पहले तो ये बताइए कब ये घटना हुई एग्जैक्टली, और क्या कुछ हुआ, और आप कहाँ थे उस समय पे?
एक्चुअली ऐसा है कि 13 अगस्त की सुबह लगभग 6:30 बजे के करीब जब हम उठे और लोगों ने आवाज़ें लगाना शुरू की कि क्लाउड ब्रस्ट हो गया है, और जो मिट्टी की एक स्मेल जैसी होती है वो हम सब ने उसको महसूस किया, और तभी हम सभी लोग घर से वहाँ से भागे, और जो एडजॉइनिंग हमारे पास वहाँ पर घर थे उसकी स्लैब के ऊपर खड़े होकर के देखने लगे कि क्या हुआ। जितना भी ये डैमेज हुआ है इसका मंजर हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा हुआ है, और ये सारा का सारा जो हमारा घर जो ब्रस्ट हुआ है वो जो त्रासदी है इसको हमने अपनी आंखों से देखा है। और ये बहुत ही दुखद है कि प्रशासन के लोग जो थे वो स्टेट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट वाले लोग भी यहाँ अब तक, जब तक आप रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हैं तब तक यहाँ कोई नहीं आया हुआ है। और हमारा सरकार से निवेदन रहेगा कि इस पूरी के पूरी जोन में, क्योंकि हर जगह दरारें आ गई हैं, और सरकार से मेरा निवेदन रहेगा कि इसका जियोलॉजिकल सर्वे करवाया जाए ताकि लोगों में जो दहशत है वो ख़त्म हो सके और लोग जो हैं वो यहाँ पर रह सकें। अगर ये बर्थ प्लेस जो है वो रहने लायक नहीं बचा है तो सरकार इसका सर्वे करवा करके हमें उचित मुआवजा दे लोगों को ताकि उनका वो पुनर्वास कर सके।
मैम, मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ बहुत ही कठिन समय है आप लोगों के लिए। मैं देख रहा हूँ पूरा घर जिस तरीके से इफ़ेक्टेड है आपका। आप क्या उस समय घर पे थे?
हाँ जी, घर पे ही थे हम लोग। बेसिकली हमारा घर दूसरी जगह है, लेकिन जो हमारा होम घर है वो यहीं है। तो हम सब लोग, ये मेरा परिवार है पूरा, तो मैं तीन जगह की त्रासदी झेल रही हूँ। जहाँ ये घर है वो भी खतरे में है, ये गांव पूरा मेरा। दूसरी जगह जहाँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट हमीरपुर में बना है वो भी सारी सिरखट जो है वो मेरे घर में घुस गई है। तीसरी जगह जहाँ हम बेटी की शादी की है वो भी उसमें रेड जोन में खाली करवा दिए गए हैं, वो भी दूसरों के घर में शेल्टर लिए हुए हैं। तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हमारी मानसिक स्थिति जो है इस समय बहुत दर्दनीय है और दुखनीय है। अब रात को नींदें नहीं आ रही हैं, वही मंजर सामने आ रहे हैं। और इतना देख के हम, मेरी जो बहू है वो उस समय बेचारी 8th मंथ था प्रेगनेंसी में, तो उसको हमने जेसीबी लगवा के तब उसको बाहर निकाला। तो इतना भयानक वो दृश्य था कि अभी भी रात को सो नहीं हम लोग पा रहे हैं और मेंटली मतलब इतने डिस्टर्ब हो चुके हैं कि कुछ नहीं नज़र आ रहा है। और एक तो सब कुछ घर बार लुट गए, ऊपर से सारा रेड जोन में अभी तक कोई भी प्रशासनिक अधिकारी जो है वो उस पर एक्शन नहीं ले रहे हैं कि मतलब वहाँ आए और कुछ उसका जेसीबी भेज के या कुछ सेव करें लोगों को, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है।
मैम, तो जिस समय ये बादल फटा आप लोग घर में ही मौजूद थे, तो उस समय पे क्या हुआ? मतलब बादल फटा, आवाज़ आई, फिर पानी का बहाव आया, यहाँ पे मलबा आया, मैं समझ रहा हूँ। आप तब सब लोग घर के अंदर थे, बाहर कैसे निकले? क्योंकि इस समय घर के अंदर बहुत पत्थर है।
हाँ जी, तो जब जैसे इन्होंने बताया, ये हमारे देवर हैं जिन्होंने ये बताया, और ये जिनका घर है ये मेरे जेठ जी हैं। तो इन्होंने बताया कि जैसे मड्डी वाटर की वो स्मेल जैसी आती है वो आई पहले, और उसके बाद धीरे धीरे पानी की आवाज़ आई और पत्थर, इन्होंने बड़े बड़े घरों के बराबर पत्थर जो हैं वो इन्होंने हवा में उड़ते हुए देखे नीचे आते हुए। और फिर तब ये हमारा घर अगली साइड को है, तो वहाँ ये लोग गए, वहाँ थोड़ा ऊपर वाली मंजिल में चढ़े। मेरी मदर, चाची सास जो है वो कोमा में है, उनको कैसे कैसे इन लोगों ने सब ने मिल के बाहर निकाला। वो बिल्कुल उसमें डेथ बेड पे पड़ी हुई हैं, तो ना लाइट ना कुछ नहीं। तो उनको सरका घाट वो बेटी के घर शिफ्ट किया, फिर जब वहाँ लाइट चली गई तो हॉस्पिटल शिफ्ट किया। तो हम कैसी कैसी त्रासदी झेल रहे हैं ये हम लोगों को पता है। और मैं तो बोलती हूँ कि जिसको पड़ती है उसी को पता होता है, बाकी किसी को कोई लेना देना नहीं होता। हम लोग इस समय बहुत ही बुरी घड़ी से गुजर रहे हैं और हमारी मांग है, आज माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी भी आ रहे हैं, देखते हैं क्या करते हैं वो, और वो भी मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ आके आंसू पहुँच के चले जाएंगे। होगा कुछ नहीं, झेलना तो हम लोगों को ही पड़ेगा।
And this is as far as the aftermath of what is taking place in Himachal Pradesh. Now we're understanding a key highway is also completely closed and it's shut off, so connectivity has taken a toll. Roads have been blocked and water supply has been hit as well. We've been getting you non-stop ground reports of what the ground situation looks like. It really hasn't changed in the last 24 hours. The Mandi Pathankot highway is the one we're referring to, which we are now understanding is completely shut off. So there is going to be a big price for the local residents to pay who still continue to be stuck in areas that are impacted. Let's also now bring in our colleague Yash, who in fact has been tracking these developments, is on ground zero. Yash, good morning. As we pointed out, the situation really hasn't changed for the better. Now we're understanding connectivity has taken a hit as well. Could you talk to us about the roads, the highways that are now complete?
Welcome back. You're watching CNN News 18. This is Nation at 5 and I'm Poonam Burde. Let's now get you some breaking news that's coming in, and this is a big development as far as the ISIS module case from Maharashtra is concerned. We're now learning that the NIA has recovered incriminating evidence during raids from one of the arrested accused. We're talking about accused Shamil Nachan, who was one of the 5 accused that was arrested in this particular ISIS module case from Pune in Maharashtra. Now we're learning that investigators have found evidence that points to a larger plot to disturb communal harmony in the entire country, not just in Pune or in Maharashtra. Yasha, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details. Yasha, what have you learned from your sources within the NIA? What's the status of the investigation? And of course, details of this incriminating evidence that the NIA claims to now have.
So yes, in fact, Shamil Lanchan, he is among one of the accused who was arrested by the National Investigative Agency, and he is in their custody until tomorrow, that is until August 18. Amidst all of this, we're seeing that the NIA was trying to get more details from him. In fact, Shamil Lanchan has been arrested along with his father, Akif Lanchan, who is also one of the main conspirators in this case. And NIA, after getting the custody of Shamil Lanchan in this particular case, had said that they also want the custody of his father, Akif Lanchan, who is one of the main accused. In fact, who is one of the masterminds in this case. Both of whom were arrested from Parga in Thane, and now we're seeing that the NIA is also further investigating this case, wherein search operations are on at a location which is in Thane, that is the Parga. This place is called Borivali village, where now NIA has found some of the incriminating evidences against Shamil Lanchan in the ISIS module case. Now, let us in fact tell our viewers that some of these people who were arrested in this case were working as a sleeper cell for ISIS, and now after having conducted searches at locations related to Shamil, who was also working as one of the sleeper cells of the ISIS, there has been several handwritten documents. Apart from that, mobile phones and hard disks which have been found. All of these have now been sent. All of these are now being sent to the forensics for further examination. In fact, investigation in this case has also revealed that Akif, he was one of the main accused, and he was the one who was training people in IED attacks. In fact, he was the one who was getting explosives and was teaching people about how to work when it comes to an IED attack. Yes.
Right, so sensational details there pouring out as far as the Pune ISIS module case is concerned. Do keep a track of the investigation, but for the moment, Yasha, thank you so much for getting us the latest. From that, we're shifting focus now to down south. The water wars between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu only escalating now that the Tamil Nadu government demanded more water from Cauvery reservoir, went to the Supreme Court, forced Karnataka government's hand. The Karnataka government has now decided that they are going to be releasing that water. But that has forced backlash for the Congress government in Karnataka, not just from their political rivals, but also from farmers from certain districts who are now affected. Remember, monsoon started on a high note as far as certain districts in Karnataka is concerned, but they eventually have slowed down, and that is a concern most of these farmers face, which is why they do not want this water to be released to Tamil Nadu. Now, the state government says that this is all a part of a Supreme Court order, and all they're doing is adhering to that. Listen in to some political reactions that are now pouring in.
The government 4-5 days back said there's no question of releasing water to the Tamil Nadu. Today you have water being released. The Deputy Chief Minister says that they're compelled to do it. He's saying the farmers should go to the Supreme Court. As a former Water Resources Minister, how do you see this, sir?
This is unprecedented and uncalled for. I don't know what is the briefing to the Deputy CM and Water Resource Minister Shivkumar. See, basically they should have put up our case very strongly in CWMA, where Water Management Authority will look into the releases of water. Tamil Nadu is supposed to use 32 TMC of water. They use 60 TMC for Cauvery crop. They are supposed to irrigate 1.8 lakh hectare. They have irrigated more than 4 lakh hectare, and it is there to see. And now they got set their eye on Karnataka water, and Karnataka government, neither they protested CWMA nor they released water to the farmers in the right time. They delayed it. Now what is the storage? It was for the Karnataka farmers. Tamil Nadu is taking its claim, and government of Karnataka meekly is releasing water. They should have put forth their case in CWMA. Now in Supreme Court they have to fight it. Instead of fighting the case for the state, they are meekly bulking under the pressure of Tamil Nadu, which is a INDA partner, and to satisfy them, they are releasing water for last 3 days.
The Congress government in the state of Karnataka have let down the people of Karnataka, the Cauvery Basin people, by releasing 10 TMC water. Instead of leaving the water for the irrigation in the Cauvery Basin in the state of Karnataka, whatever the conserved or the stored water in the KRS and all other remaining dams have been released to Tamil Nadu, more than what they are eligible on this condition, on the present condition when there is not much of rain. So they have done all these things to help their India Alliance partner, to keep them in good books by letting down the people of Karnataka.
Now, we've heard the political reactions coming to the fore, both from the BJP, the JDS and the Congress party. They're all out there to slam the Tamil Nadu government as well. Now, this is an issue that comes up every single year, especially the years that Karnataka witnesses a bad monsoon. Farmers are up in arms against this water being released. But this is not a new issue. The dispute, in fact, goes back to a decade. Let's take a look at how this has transpired both legally and politically. In 2013, Tamil Nadu government had moved the Supreme Court. They sought directions from the court for constitution of a Cauvery Management Board. That happened back in 2013, 10 years ago. The same year, we saw that the Tamil Nadu government sought damages from Karnataka government for not following an order that came to the fore from the tribunal for that water to be released. Then, in 2016, we had again the Tamil Nadu government file a petition in Supreme Court seeking a direction to Karnataka to release water because otherwise the Karnataka government wouldn't do so. The SC then directed the Karnataka government to release 15,000 cusecs per day until September 15th, a certain time period in that particular year that was set by the Supreme Court, until which the Karnataka government had to comply. Karnataka government then released 10,000 cusecs of water to Tamil Nadu in that same year. Again, not completely adhering to the Supreme Court order that came to the fore based on the petition of the Tamil Nadu government. After unrest, the Supreme Court asked Karnataka to release 12,000 cusecs. So it wasn't 15, it wasn't 10, there was a middle path that was found by the Supreme Court. But there was an issue with that as well as far as Karnataka was concerned and as far as farmers of Karnataka were concerned. In 2018, the Supreme Court reduced the allocation even further from Karnataka to Tamil Nadu. That is something that irked the Tamil Nadu government because then it became a political issue for them as well. The judgment clarified that Karnataka will have to have enhanced share of 14.75 TMC feet water per year. Since then, we've seen back and forth that has happened. Just 3 days ago, in fact, Tamil Nadu government went back to the Supreme Court to demand more water from Karnataka, which is why that water has now been released, triggering a fresh war of words between the two states and between the political parties in Karnataka as well. We are shifting focus now, in fact, in this edition from some breaking news that's coming in from Mumbai in Maharashtra. We're now given to understand that a couple has been arrested for culpable homicide. A husband and wife were arrested by the Dadar Government Reserve Police Crime Branch on charges of culpable homicide not amounting to murder. This is over a CCTV footage that has now come to the fore from the Dadar railway station in Mumbai. According to sources, the woman was pushed by an individual. She retaliated by hitting the person with her umbrella. Before we get you those details, let's now get you some political breaking news that's coming to the fore, and this is coming in from Telangana, where we are seeing war of words between the BRS and the Congress party. K. Kavita, in fact, has now hit out at Rahul Gandhi, especially over his Bharat Jodo Yatra. K. Kavita now asking, what has the Congress done for the poor and Muslims in its 62 years of rule? Kavita was addressing workers in Nizamabad area of the state. Listen into that comment that came to the fore.
राहुल गांधी जी है, उन्होंने नया यात्रा निकाले, भारत जोड़ो यात्रा। मुझे क्या लग रहा मालूम, जो 1000 चूहों को मार के एक बिल्ली हज यात्रा को निकलती, वैसा है राहुल गांधी जी का। अरे आजादी आने के बाद 62 इयर्स कांग्रेस का हुकूमत चला इस मुल्क में। क्या करें आप मुसलमानों के लिए, क्या करें आप गरीबों के लिए? गरीबी हटाओ बोल के बोलते रहे, गरीबों को हटाए, गरीबी नहीं हटाए आप। लेकिन तेलंगाना में 10 साल में जो इंकलाब केसीआर साहब लेके आए, देश में कहीं और नहीं हुआ।
Swastika, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details of the new political war that is brewing there in Telangana. And this is interesting ahead of 2024 as well. The BRS, neither with the opposition bloc nor with the NDA. Now, as far as Telangana goes, both for 2024 and the 2023 state elections, a pointed attack coming in from the BRS towards the Congress, specifically Rahul Gandhi, Swastika.
That's right. And Kavita says that the cat is now seeking penance after killing mice, and this is a statement that she's made hitting out at Rahul Gandhi. This is not a new fight precisely because in poll-bound Telangana, virtually it seems that the Congress and the BRS are now in direct fight with each other. Congress, of course, upbeat after Karnataka win. They've also been pulling out all the strings to ensure that they tackle the ruling BRS. The BRS on its part has officially started its campaign for the 2023 assembly elections, and that is why Kavita yesterday, while campaigning in her former constituency, in fact Lok Sabha constituency in Islamabad, that is when she targeted and trained guns at the Congress, questioning what have they done for the BRS, what have they gone down for the Muslim community. Not just that, Muslims per se in Telangana are a crucial vote bank, 12% as per the 2011 census, and that's why both the parties have been trying to woo the community with different schemes, with KCR also announcing 1 lakh subsidy for the community.
Right, Swastika, do keep a track of how the Congress responds to this, but for the moment, thank you so much for getting us the latest. With that, it's a wrap from my side here on this edition of Nation at 5. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching Viewpoint. I'm Anusha Soni. The alliance called INDIA, or the Indian National Developmental Inclusive Alliance, a loose coalition of over 26 political parties, was formed with much enthusiasm to take on the might of the BJP. Critics and political opponents had criticized this alliance for being high on political decibel and high on